So alright everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how we can detect generative AI. Well, not necessarily detect generative AI generated content, but it's more about what is the characteristics of AI generated text. So as I mentioned in class, some students are in my class. Um, so generative AI is large language models and it works based on the prediction algorithm. It doesn't have thinking or critical thinking. Basically, it will spit out whatever based on its prediction algorithm, based on the question that you enter. All right. So in this video, I will demonstrate how we detect some of the characteristics of AI generated writing. For example, if you add in write a literature review on diesel research, for example. So we wait, and you see that it will start to write about that. All right, so yeah, we just wait for it to generate fast. Okay, so now is it done generated writing? The first thing when you look at the references here, and in general, I didn't ask it to add API references to this one, so there isn't much references. If I ask it to add API 7 references to the text, so we're gonna wait to see how it goes. Okay. Right, cool. I think, yep, basically it's gonna start to add IPA references to that. Now, except for a very few references that are up to date, okay, for most of the references you see that it will look from the start, we'll see that it is from 1965, right? It is from 2003, and it is from 2004, 2010, and 2007. You see that the patterns of references generated in AI text tend to be older. Now, in academic writing, we want to aim for references within 10 years, best within 5 years, actually 5 years. So if it is 2024 right now, so the references that I expect to be should be in from 2019, you know. But most of the references generated by AI like this, it tend to be way into the past, like from 2007 or something. Is like almost roughly 20 years ago. So this is not up to date references. Okay. Now, all right. Let me have a look closer to the text to see if there is anything we can comment on that. So the key theme is a historical perspective, pedagogical innovation, learner diversity in influences, and the integration of technology in TESOL. Alright, so these are just a theme that the AI detected. It's not necessary to be true or not. Alright. For example, when I say the themes in research, but it says historical perspective. Okay, so in research we don't usually talk about historical perspective. This one for literature review, and the same thing for theoretical underpinning. It's not really a theme. It is the framework. If you conduct a study, you need a framework. Okay, and you select the theories or framework depends on your research question. But the AI tech is telling us it is a theme. All right, so it indicates that it's not really understand what a theme is, or at least this is a theme in its understanding, not necessarily in our general understanding of what a theme is. All right. The same thing when I say learner diversity and individual differences. So, so these are not, when we talk about individual differences, it can be quite broad, okay? And it is the whole field of, of studying. So it's quite general what it means by individual differences. Now let's have a closer look into what is right in a specific section. So in pedagogical innovation, it talk about task-based learning, project-based learning, flipped classroom, okay, and then it will talk about what task-based is, and then it will talk about content language integrated learning, which is another one, okay. So you see that this is not a well-supported paragraph or paragraph because when you talk about task-based and project-based and flipped classroom, but in the example seemed to be fine because you talk about task-based, but then it move on to content language integrated learning, and this one is not really about task-based. All right, it is its own approach, right? And this one is not so much about project-based or flipped classroom. It is its own. It's in its own area. So you see that the explanation and the examples that AI generated text, give us is not that well supported or well selected. And then it will say learner-centered instruction would emphasize autonomy, motivation, and personal learning experiences. All right. But still, learner-centered instruction is an approach. It's a very general approach. But in this heading, it's talk about innovation. So what I want to see is how how do we justify a general concept such as learner-centered instruction as innovation? Okay, so we see that it's not clear how a very common concept in language teaching can be considered innovation. All right, innovation, but innovation in what way? So we see that the explanation of AI tend to be incomplete. It tend to pull together relevant keywords, but it's not complete. As I very normal academic writing we would write, right? If I am to write about pedagogical innovation, I would definitely have to explain what do I mean by innovation and why there are why certain things or approaches such as task-based or learner-centered instruction are innovative, and innovative in what way, and I give example. Okay, not like this is just a range of sentences to put together and they consider to be pedagogical innovation. Now, the same thing when they talk about learning diversity and individual differences. Now, they talk about individual differences, okay, but then they talk about cross-cultural differences, all right, but they didn't explain how does it justify as learner diversity or individual differences, and what is the context. So you see again the citation from a very old references. Okay, now we can argue that cross-cultural differences are related to learner diversity, but you need to state clearly. All right, but in this case, the example does not make a lot of sense. So Asian learner face unique challenges due to high contact communication norms in text-oriented education system. So how does this support the concept of learner diversity? This one they talk about the culture. How is culture relevant to TESOL, right? How do culture, if in the same class we are all Asian students, then how does it justify, what they want to say about diversity? and culturally responsive teaching. Same thing. So what we are seeing repetitively is that there are relevant concepts, all right, and relevant ideas that AI generated. Why these ideas are relevant and sometimes it's really important, but the way that AI explain it is not logical. It doesn't know what specific information to add to support the original argument. All right, it seems to just add a bunch of sentences that it thinks relevant and relevant to the initial sentence. So you see that if we really look closely into the writing of AI, it's not making sense. It's not effective. And if you use this for your assignment, then obviously when the lecturer read it, it's not making sense because they know what the rules, what the areas is, and they want you to write sentences that support your statement and explain the whole section, not just a bunch of sentences that are relevant in some way. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much okay. That's pretty much. This is just a very brief overview of the AI generated text. Okay, something I would need to check is whether this one is uh, real references. Okay, often AI can generate its own references, and we don't know about that. Okay, it depends. Even if most of these are correct, but if there are only one or two references that are incorrect, then you would still have issue with academic integrity. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much for today's video. What I want to share in this video is for you to have a better sense of what AI can and can't do. It's a large language model. It does predict, what next, based on the input, but it does not have thinking, especially critical thinking. In this video, I have demonstrated that if we have expertise in the area and we just look into the ways, right, we'll see that it doesn't support the initial sentence that well. It just pull together relevant words and sentences. All right, so you want to make sure that you are the one who read the papers, you are the one who see the insights, and you know how to support your argument. All right, you don't just ask AI to just generate whatever to support the argument because it will become illogical. All right, and you may face serious consequences for that. All right, thanks everyone for watching. See you next video. Bye.